Welcome, everybody. Welcome back, and hello to our guests. We've got a little different format today in Conversations in South St. Paul, and I'm very excited to be here with all of you because we get to talk about some cool stuff that's going on in South St. Paul. So let's first go around the table and introduce ourselves. And my questions, I have 3 questions like to start things out. One is, what's your favorite band? Second is your favorite sports team. And third is, what do you like to do in your free time? So we'll start with Deb.
Well, thank you, Mayor Francis. So this is Deb Griffith. So my favorite band, well, that would have to be ABBA.
ABBA.
Okay.
Nice.
So I'm old school. My favorite sport would be football. And whether it's Packer football, as in South St. Paul Packers, not that Green Bay stuff, or Vikings, which is great. And in my spare time, I do gardening and crafts and baking. So, but who has spare times with our jobs, right?
Right.
So.
Right. I'm Colin Trudgeon. I don't listen to a lot of bands, but I will pay homage to my dad and say the Beatles is my favorite band. Listened to a lot of Beatles growing up. Favorite sport would be football as well. And go South St. Paul Packers. I'm also a Green Bay Packer fan, so I like everything that says Packers. I'm there for. And free time, I like to watch sport. I'm very sporty, so sports. So I'll go play golf or go watch football, all that stuff. So sports.
And my name is Heather Flock, and the first question was my favorite band. I would have to say Taylor Swift is one of my favorites, and it's not necessarily just all her music, but my daughter and I have gone to every single concert she's had, and we've gone together. So it's been something that her and I can kind of enjoy, and she wants to go with me, even at 22 years old. So I absolutely love Taylor Swift. For that reason, I get to spend time with my daughter. And then for my favorite sports, I like gymnastics. I've done some work with the gymnastics team here in South St. Paul. And of course, the hockey teams I've been doing yoga for down at Doug Woog, and I love them. They're amazing. But I am with Colin. I love all sports. And then my favorite pastime is we just recently got a cabin a couple of years ago. And so I like to go up north and spend some time in up north Wisconsin.
Nice.
So, yeah.
We have a place in Grantsburg, Wisconsin.
Oh, I've been to Luther Point Bible Camp in Grantsburg.
Oh, right on.
So,
Yeah.
So Wisconsin has an up north too then.
Yes.
yes.
Like Minnesota has an up north that only we understand what up north means.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
And that's something different for everybody,
Yeah.
Right.
because when you're in Mankato, up north is really far up
Correct.
north, right?
Yep.
Well, that's nice to know all of you, a little bit deeper, a little peripheral with the music. But as we were starting this out, you were singing, you like to sing, you guys are going to be a duet and something. And then Deb was talking about singing that we do for bingo. And I was on my way in, I was singing here. So maybe we should work on a little karaoke night for a Parks and Rec thing. Just
think so.
put that in your bank.
Let's do
Think
it.
about that for later. Maybe a little something for a festival coming up. But I wanted to come together with you all and have a good South St. Paul conversation about what's going on in Parks and Rec. And this is a popcorn thing, so anybody feel like they can share whatever for whatever. But what's going on in the Parks and Rec and what's going on in South St. Paul?
Well, we have a lot going on. Last year was my first year here, so I was new to everything, and the Splish Splash Bash was just amazing. But we started the color run, and we had some logistical issues, but it was a great event. I'm looking forward to it again this year. So we've got a lot of.
So for those of us that don't know what a color run is,
Sure.
what is that?
So the color run here in South St. Paul is where we get together over at Kaposia Landing. And when you're running, people are throwing up colored chalk. And it lands on you, it lands on your face, it lands on your shirt. But we have white shirts that we give participants. And the beauty of it is that it's really just becoming one with the community. And we get to see the volunteers throwing color all over us. And it makes us laugh, it makes us smile. And not necessarily, are we there to be the fastest person,
Right.
but the most colorful.
Yeah.
So
It does make it fun and visually exciting, but all that, does that all go away? It just washes off? It washes off your shirt, it washes off the patio, all that stuff?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. The rain takes it away the next day, hopefully.
And I know, just because I know Parks and Rec, but for those that don't know, it's any age. You can do a walk, you can do a run, you can do a scooter for a senior
Yeah.
citizen, right?
Yeah. Yep. And we had a few dogs in there. We did have a biker lead the race, and we'd had a couple fast guys running, but we had a ton of kids, and that was so cool to see them out enjoying running, which is a sport that maybe not many are fond of. So it was really great to see all the people running and walking.
Yeah.
All skill levels.
Yeah. Colin, how about you? What's going on in your world?
Yeah, so my role kind of in our department is more geared towards the youth programming. So to piggyback off of the color run, we also have a speedsters and training program that we do leading up to it. So if kids want to run and get some training in before the color run, that starts in April. We have a spring break camp coming up. So it's a 4-day camp, Monday through Thursday of spring break. So that gives kids the opportunity to go to Inver Grove for 2 days, come to South St. Paul for 2 days. Just trying to find times when kids don't have school. The biggest one, obviously, summer. So summer, we have our camp starting June 16th. We have summer playhouse starting June 16th, a little later this year just because school's going later this year as well. We have T-ball for sports that starts early June, and we have football at the end of summer as well. So the summer camps are at Kaposia Park. We have 8 weeks of great camp. We have great staff who keep coming back because they love it and they love the kids, and it's just a great environment over at Kaposia Park. So it's all online on our website right now. You can find it in our activity guide as well. And then they also end every week by going to the pool. So yeah, it's very nice.
Very cool.
Yeah.
The Summer Playhouse is near and dear to the old mayor's heart because it was started back when I was in theater, and we built those first sets for the Summer Playhouse. It was run with the summer theater program with Harry Tollefson, and the idea that we could then perform in it and then make a couple bucks as a Parks and Rec employee for the summer was like the coolest thing ever, because then we got to extend our performance time. And so that's still the same thing, right? You're looking for the youth of the community to play these roles and to run that program, right?
Yep, correct. So for those who don't know about Summer Playhouse, it's a traveling theater that goes from 2 to 3 parks every day, Monday through Thursday. And yes, they perform 1 act per week. But yeah, we have 5 to 6 great high schoolers. They're all part of the South St. Paul high school theater program. So they're all near and dear to South St. Paul, and they love it. They drive the van around with the trailer. You can probably see them in the summer at some point with the van and the trailer, and they're all packed in there, and they just have the greatest time, and especially when it's nice outside. So the schedule for that is a little tweaked this year, but you can find that all online and in our activity guide. So
I think what's really neat about Colin's staff is that some of these folks are actually going to college for theater.
Right.
So we really give them a beautiful experience to take away.
Yeah, and that extended performance aspect of their career, but also a little bit of management, time management, people management. You have to be versatile because of the weather. You have to be versatile because maybe some of the people didn't show up that were going to show up, and the daycares or whoever is coming to see you in the parks. So it is a full faceted operation, which is really awesome.
it is.
Yeah.
And they can drive the van with the attached trailer in parallel park.
Exactly. Good life.
You know, I mean,
there.
That is a great life skill.
Never, ever would I be able to do that. So exactly.
Deb, you've been around this a long time, born and raised in South St. Paul, doing a lot of the community stuff. We build community. We've always kind of done that in different ways, and they morph throughout the years. So how do we tell me about that? How we've created these events in South St. Paul and with our parks, and then we've sustained them for all these years.
Right. Well, and then you kind of start with, hey, I got a crazy idea.
Yeah.
That's how it always starts. And then you start picking and who can partner with you to make it work. And what does the community want? And that's what you really have to look at. And sometimes the idea isn't coming from us. Most of the time it's not coming from us. It's coming from a community member to say, hey, what do you think of this idea?
Yeah.
Tell
us about some of maybe the challenges that you faced in pulling together some of these events. I mean, all of you, because you've all kind of had them. And yeah.
I think, since I've been here, it seems that I'll plan a snowshoe or candlelight hike, right?
Yep.
And there's no snow.
Sure.
Or I'll plan a color run and it's pouring rain.
Right.
I think the biggest challenge for Park and Rec is opening a pool when it's been raining for 3 weeks straight, and if you can't get the temperature, water at the right temperature, and so just really working around that, and trying to explain to the community that we really want you to have a great experience so that you come back next year and do another one. So we may have to put things on hold for a little while until we get enough snow, or it's not 40 below, or it's not raining. So I think that's been one of our biggest issues in Park and Rec to deal with is that
weather.
Yep,
because you can't control
Right,
weather.
right.
And you don't know, like we did Martin Luther King Day celebration. We said, you know what? They're really saying it's really going to be cold. Let's postpone it for a month. Well, we did that for a month, and it ended up being 8 degrees colder in February, but it didn't seem it though. And I think that's and we still had people that came out. So you can't control Mother Nature. You can't try, but any event, whether it's inside or outside, you have to work with that.
Right.
And you have to have a plan B always in your head in order to make it work.
So as we're doing this for conversations in South St. Paul, I look there to the people and I'm thinking, okay, I'm the person going to this event. I'm not you. I'm a participant. How do I know it gets canceled? Where do I go? How do I know that? And how far in advance do these things happen?
Well, we plan the events sometimes a year in advance. Like the day after Splish Splash is done, we're talking about what we can make better, how we can make the line shorter, how we can, so it sometimes takes a year to plan these things. The color run takes a year to plan these things, to find enough volunteers to do all this. But our marketing team has a great Facebook page where they do post very often on, hey, what's canceled today? We're closing our rinks. We're opening our rinks. We're closing our pools. We're opening our pools. So we have a weather hotline as well.
Okay.
For things in the summer, for heat indexes, for summer camps. So our social media is phenomenal. Our marketing guy is great.
Yeah. Right. The website's coming along.
Website's
We've just
wonderful.
got lots of options. So it really is just look to the city website or where you signed up to it,
Yep.
and you'll be able to do that. How about in the youth programs? How's that work?
Yeah, so for any situation where we would have to cancel or move, I would ideally know. I know we had air quality a few years ago that would kind of sneak up on you, where
right.
you would wake up and all of a sudden it's foggy and you got to check the AQI. I didn't even know what the AQI was, which is air quality index. So things like that.
Yeah.
Usually you can see it coming with extreme weather, but certain things like that. But I'll always email the parents and make sure my staff know. We rarely will just cancel. We have never just canceled the day. If anything, we can move to Doug Woog Arena. But yeah, I'll make sure that it's always communicated, always looking ahead with the weather. And to piggyback off the weather thing, it's the hardest thing is when you move a date or something and then the weather that was supposed to be isn't even that weather anymore.
Right.
Like we moved the color run last year to a different day, and then that day also was rainy. But when we planned it, it was sunny. So the weather is not reliable anyway. So to try to work through that and hopefully just kind of got to get a little lucky. But yeah, for any youth programming, I'll make sure anyone who's like registered will know from me, and they'll get all that information as well. So
Yeah. Cool. Deb, talk about collaborations that we're doing all summer. with
We are
people.
doing a lot of collaborations, not only in the summer, but, throughout the entire year, because that's pretty much what my job is, collaborating with community groups and outside groups. And, the farmers market is one of them, where we collaborate with the St. Paul Farmers Market,
Yeah.
collaborate with Lakota Federal Credit Union, and then getting the farmers in too. And so it's critical in order to make things work. Kaposia Days.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the name of collaboration right there, on the road again. South St. Paul Night to Night. If
Right.
it
Oh,
wasn't
wow.
for the neighborhoods, South St. Paul Night to Night would be pretty boring if we did not have any neighborhoods to go to. So if it wasn't for collaborations, it wouldn't be the community. But South St. Paul is all about, I think that's our middle name, collaboration.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking we're going to do one of these conversations during Night to Unite and have people come to see us somewhere. So instead of us going out to the parties, we're going to have parties come to us, or people come and see us and do a little of this communications and talking and exciting stuff that we have here in South St. Paul. Because as Deb said, we can't do it without it. And it's our middle name. We do a lot of it, right? So as we collaborate, there's a lot of stuff coming up right now. Do you guys have things you want to share or you're excited about? Maybe something new, or maybe not new, but renewed?
I'm excited about the pools. Actually, I just sent out my email to all the staff, like, who's
It
coming
is
back?
that time, right?
It's that time. And I've had 15 lifeguards let me know that they're excited to come back. And so that's exciting. We have gotten a few grants that have given us the opportunity to have e-bikes, to have roller skis, and our snowshoes are done now, probably for the season, and our cross-country skis, but we've got a lot of new opportunities. I just went to the e-bike summit in Minneapolis this week, and we talked about transportation and how e-bikes can make a big difference for those who don't have transportation, and maybe for those who want to get around recreationally too on our trail system here. So pretty excited about those opportunities, our rental program coming up. Yeah.
You mentioned the pool. It's
Yep.
been on again, off again. It's been a point of interest for probably a decade as we've moved. Every year, I know they cross their fingers when they turn on the pumps to make sure everything's going. Everyone here is nodding their head because you've been there. You've been standing there watching it. So can you give me a little update on the pools? And I know that you have no control, just like the weather, if that's
Right.
going to start up.
Right.
But what does that process look like if it goes smooth, and then if it doesn't go smooth, like what are all those lifeguards that are excited? What happens then?
That is a really good question. And I think March 19th is our pool feasibility study, where we have everything going on at the library. And it is my wish that anybody in the community with an opinion, with hopes and dreams about what's going on in our pool, they come visit us there. It's March 19th, I think, at night. So I'm praying everybody that wants this pool, that doesn't want this pool, shows up and lets us know.
Sure, because this is the time.
This is the time.
Yep.
And I mean, we are a community on the river, and the community I worked in right before this, we were on the river, and I am the one who teaches all the water programming, all the water exercise, all the swimming lessons, and train those that do that. And it is so important that South St. Paul has an opportunity to learn how to swim.
Right.
So, yes, water aerobics is amazing. I love teaching it, and I love the women that come and the men that come and visit me every day to do water fitness and be healthy and move. But it is the kids that need to learn how to swim here, because we are on the river, and if they're going to stay in this environment or along Mississippi River, they should know how to swim.
Yeah,
So-
that's important. Again, it's been a lifelong thing in South St. Paul that we've embraced in our Parks and Rec, and it will continue. And we're just trying to figure out how to do that with a facility. And so that's where, again, the call to action is them coming and sharing that.
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
And let us know that we
For
want it. Let them know that we all want it to be open every year too. Like
Right.
we pray that it's
Right.
that it's done.
And if it's not, I
You
think
took swimming lessons, right?
Yeah, I did.
took swimming lessons with
Yes.
Park and Rec. So I mean,
I took swimming lessons at Northview when
I
it
did too.
had the tall diving board, the big
yes.
one, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
was, and so I always
Yeah.
looked at that and said, I'll never go on that. And then of course in grade school and high school, I'm like, I'm going on that, and those are good times,
Those
different
are good
times now.
times.
And did you go on that?
I did it, and I
All
would always
right.
do a toothpick off the end,
Oh,
the
sure.
straight down
Oh.
toothpick.
Yep.
Says I was scared that I'd do a belly flop and get hurt,
Mhm.
So the
Yeah.
pool's one thing, and
Yeah.
and you've got a whole summer's worth of plans and activities, which again are going to be in the city newsletter and on our city website. Well, activating for the youth. Tell me some things we could share with people about how to activate the youth.
Yeah. So, I mean, with our summer programs, those are, the camps are just ongoing, and it's 9 to 4 every day. So that's a great opportunity. We also have field trips as well. So we partner with Mendota Heights and with Inver Grove Heights and with West St. Paul. And all 4 of us cities, we meet every year. We plan out these 5 or 6 field trips for the year. So it does give the kids the opportunity if they do want to go. I think we have Sky Zone planned. We have Lebanon Hills planned where they can go and kayak and fish. So we try to partner with other cities as well to offer, opportunities outside of the city as well as within the city. Another thing that we're looking at doing differently this year is our youth football program. So in previous years, we've had that all in-house with flag all the way up until tackle. We've talked with the school, and nothing is completely finalized yet, but we're looking at adding a traveling tackle team. So the 5th and 6th and 7th and 8th graders can play together instead of playing against each other. And there's a lot of things that kind of go into why the middle school is not a lot of middle school teams around neighboring middle school teams are joining an association because it's not carried by the school. So we're helping out the school in that way so we can keep the middle school football team here in South St. Paul. So that's an exciting thing that more details will come out as we get closer to the season. But that's one thing that we're looking at adding, because with the 5th and 6th graders, when they're playing against each other, sometimes it's football. They're hitting each other and there's all this and that. But to get them all on the same team and kind of bring together South St. Paul, it hopefully can benefit our program along with all the way up to the high school level. If they start playing together, in 5th grade and 6th grade, then hopefully that can translate all the way up as well. So
that is the South St. Paul sensibility and adaptability of our Parks and Rec, right? It changes, it morphs, and you figured out a solution. You had a problem, you figured out a solution. That's super cool. Now tell me about technology and how technology works in this, like keeping people organized, when someone signs up for something and all that stuff. That's a big part, right?
Oh, yeah. So we have, obviously our registration, you can register for anything online as well as in person. You can still do everything in person, but we do things like we send feedback. So like after football or for camps, just send out surveys or just try to get feedback from the general public on what we could do better or worse. I know we've also been really trying to get our website updated just in general, so people can just use our website and they could see if they want to rent a Kapoja Pavilion or this or that. They can see the schedule just to try to be more transparent with everything we have available. While there's a lot of people who probably still use, they come in person or they use the newsletter in their hands. There's also this new generation that kind of solely relies on the website and technology and stuff like that. So it's trying to stay, keep adding things to our website and just technology based, because there's this group of people that without it being available on technology might not be able to access it. So we keep trying to find different ways to kind of make that the best we can. So
I have to say that the coolest thing that we're doing is this QR code thing.
Yeah.
And I'm in that generation where maybe, using my app to register isn't always the easiest. And so we've got this QR code and you just hit it, just like you would at a restaurant.
Mm-hmm. Right. As you fly, all of those things are becoming more and more
that.
common. My 88-year-old dad knows how to do that. So
great.
There again, I think it's a point of people that want to use it are figuring it out and are embracing it. But we are also old school. We do have paper and pen, and we still
can come up and visit us right at City Hall. You can just come up and write your check out.
Yeah. Deb, how do you use technology in what you do, or again, maybe just logistically organizing these groups to make sure that they come off and have success?
A lot of it, I'm still old school with some of it, just simply because it's the block parties and things like that, and it's the one-on-one. Most of them seek me out at Nolan's.
Sure.
So, that's even older school, where they do that. But even like the Valograms and the Boograms and things like that, we've gone online with those and then just followed up with the payments. And so it's more diverse, which is good for more people. It just sometimes makes it a little bit more harder on our end because it is so diverse with it. But, we're learning as well, too. So not only is the community learning, but we're learning as well.
Yeah. Awesome.
Which is what it's all about, right?
It is. And, you're listening and watching Conversations in South St. Paul. We're here with our Parks and Rec staff, Heather, Colin, Deb, Mayor Francis, just in an effort to get people excited about what's going on in South St. Paul. And Parks and Rec in our community liaison, that is like the heart of it, really. I mean, there's so much stuff that you all touch, not only from the grade schools to the senior programs to the HUD buildings that we have, and then even those, like you keep saying, those block parties. What's the overall feeling you guys have about people's participation? Do you think there's room for more? Do you think we're at capacity, or do you think that, what do you guys think about participation?
I think this is a community in general that if it's something that if you put out something that is good, people will show up for it. I mean, Splish Splash Bash is a great example where I think the first year, I wasn't here yet, but they didn't know how many people to expect, because when you have a first time event, you don't know. And I think they had over 1,000 people show up just out of the blue, which kind of overwhelmed them at the time. But it's really good to see that, because that's not always a thing. It's a great sense of community here, and people will show up if you give them things to show up for. I think another thing that we've been trying to be better at is just getting this information to people. I know when I first started my summer, going on my third year here now. So I started in January 2023. So, but I remember hearing from people like, oh, I didn't even realize that you had a camp offered at Kapocha Park or things like that. So just try to get information out as much as possible because, if you build it, they will come. And, as long as it's a good program. So I think just getting the information to people is important because, the participation is very important when you look at a program, and we have seen success in that aspect, I would say.
Well, and I think we're also smart enough to know that sometimes you have to retire a program too.
Yeah.
To bring on other things as well too. And then you can maybe start bringing it back slowly. One of the examples is like movies in the park. So we used to do a 6-week series of that. And at Central Square, which was great. We did it during the summer and stuff, which was, sponsored by different people. I mean, I still remember when Chip Jansen would bring in his RV and he'd pull it into it and we'd put a tarp up. And that was our screen because that was the technology at the time. But after a while, we saw that the attendance was falling off with the movies. And so we retired that, but now you guys are bringing it back a little bit. I'm glad that you're bringing it back more in the fall so you can start a movie before 9:30, because then you always take a look at the back end going, great, we're here at 11:30 with 3-year-olds, which is just not working.
Right.
And so I think we're smart enough to be able to take and look at that too, that while we're continually bringing on new stuff, sometimes you have to retire some. And it still works.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'm super excited to do all of the things here. And so anytime I hear of another city or another community doing something, I'm like, oh, that would work in South St. Paul. We're going to do a triathlon this year at the pool. Yeah. And so I'm super excited about it, not just because I've done them before and I love them, but I'm excited to get our community involved in it. And we're creating a free event. So it's going to be phenomenal. But we're looking forward to doing a lot of new fun things. And I think the more the merrier. The more events we have, the merrier we're going to be.
Yeah. Oh, I can't disagree more with the idea that we're not adaptive here in South St. Paul. Like Deb says, something doesn't work out, we change it, add something else, add a splash to it, grab a little more. So we really are lucky to have you all here working for us and constantly thinking of these things that not only are maybe break-even events, but some of them are even revenue generating. And then you start to generate revenue from those for the city to do other things by getting a grant for some equipment that you can now charge a nominal fee for, that then can go into a kitty to go for the next thing. And all of those things just, again, work together as you build out this program and adapt for the community needs. You talked about feedback. What is some of the feedback you all get about some of the events that we have? Is there things like, I really wish you'd have, or you really wish you'd do anything like that?
I think the newest thing that I'm hearing for this year was is the Memorial Day parade and
tell me that.
celebration. And so with the VFW merging with Hastings, the VFW is no longer here in South St. Paul, and they always ran the Memorial Day celebration in commemoration. And so with them leaving, it's like, who's going to take it on? And so again, my hub, Nolan's, you run into people saying, hey, I'd really like to do this. So we have a grassroots group that have put together with the school district, we still have the VFW that are willing. Terry's still willing to work with us. Myself, we have the Boy Scouts, we have the Girl Scouts, and we have other groups that we're working together to continue the program. We don't know what it's going to look like right now. Yeah. We do know it is going to go into the high school, the auditorium. As much as we would love to be able to have it up at the cemetery, it's really rough terrain for the elderly, which is who mostly comes to it. The other part of it is we want to bring the parade back. Yep. And because the parade stopped with COVID and it has not been able to come back yet. And South St. Paul was synonymous with the Memorial Day parade. Now, with it being at the high school, that means that we're going to have to change the parade route. But, those are all things that we're working with. We also talked about the social afterwards. We think we've got a group that would be willing to take on the hot dogs and hot dog buns and chips and stuff. And so, again, adapting rather than just saying, oh, well, they're not here, we're not going to do it. It was people just said, I'm there
Can't let
for
this
you.
happen.
Right.
I was one of those
Yep.
people that said, no, we're doing this no matter what. It means a lot to this community. We have a lot of pride in country, pride in our servicemen and women and the families behind that. And I think the idea that we've made the decision already to be permanent at the high school is the best because it's weather.
Yep.
Hot, cold, we've seen it all.
There's that weather.
And the weather again. But it does allow us to have a consistent program, and then we can add to it, whether that's, again, if it's as simple as we pass out flags and people at their own leisure go up to the cemetery and plant those flags on, loved ones' graves, whatever that is, the small parade, whether that's in the parking lot, it's a reverse parade where they stop and we all walk around, whatever that comes out to be. I know we'll get to a conclusion, and that's far down the way, but you have to start planning this stuff now, right?
It's really not.
It's
'cause
not,
It's
yeah.
the end of May, and so with everybody's schedule is hard, as busy as it is. So in 2 weeks, we'll be meeting again with the group of people, and they all had their walking assignments and stuff. And so, by within, I'd say, a month and a half, we will have what it's going to look like. And which is, I think, is exciting. So
Again, if you're listening to this or watching this and you want to participate, Deb Griffith is right on our city website. The Parks and Rec is on our website. If there's anything we've talked about that you want to get involved in, because guess what? You don't have to be on a commission. You don't have to be an elected official, and you don't have to be a staff member to participate, help, volunteer, even if it's in answering phones, stuffing envelopes, making calls, right? And those are the simple things we need from just about everybody. When I asked you earlier about participation, do you think it's high or low? As I see it from the outside, because I see a lot of these events, I think there's always room for more people. We always want more people, but we do have a great core of helpers and people that are interested. And because you all are bringing more interesting things to it, that it starts to gain these other different people coming in that haven't been there. And then you do a good job of keeping people, right?
because the core is changing, like you said, which is great. It's continuing to grow, which is good. Which is good because some people are getting older, and they're having harder. They just can't. Cleaning the river is not for 80-year-old people.
Right, they want to do it, and
but they want
support
to
it because
do
they
it
love the environment. Yeah.
So they are at the they're at the table with me, registering people and stuff because they want to be part of that. Or there's the parking lot that we put them in. But I am not putting 80-year-old people up on the river to clean it in that riffraff. I know what my ankles felt like.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
when you're done with that,
I have to say, I think coming from another, born and raised in a community in Wisconsin, I have to say this community is very strong in their service, and they believe in their community. And I watch these young fire or police department folks coming in, and they're just truly amazing folks. They help us with every single event. They sit right next to us, and they are there to answer questions. If we leave this table, they are there to answer, and they know everything about Park and Rec, which is wonderful. So we're really tight knit with those folks over there.
Yeah. And I even the new people who have moved here 1 year, 2 years, they just love what we represent.
Yeah.
They love our sidewalks and our old growth trees and our built out parks. And again, there's so many opportunities. And so the new people are welcome to come in and are welcomed by the seniors of the community because they want to pass that baton and keep this successful and keep stuff going. And it's just great to have those milestones like 50 years of Kaposia days, right? And
this summer,
yeah. So as we wrap up, let's go around, and if anything we've forgotten to talk about or anything anybody wants to share in our conversation, would love to do that, because I do appreciate you coming and giving a little more in-depth for people that are watching online or maybe listening while they do chores at the house, maybe some dates of things that are coming up that they could take note of. And I'll start with Deb, and we'll go around the table.
Well, we've got another summer full of activities, starting with the environmental expos coming up, the Memorial Day parade. The farmers market will be back. We're excited about that. The POPS program, where kids can earn money to buy produce. That will be back thanks to the Lions Club, who made a donation, as well as the St. Paul Farmers Market. So the kids, they have to do a small activity, and then they get a $3 token to be able to buy produce at the market. And I will tell you, they drag their parents to the market so that they can do that, which is exciting. So that will be starting up in June. Like you said, Kaposia Days, 50 years strong. It's going to be in a different location, kind of, because of the Marie Avenue construction. But, they're working out all the details, and that is one really dedicated group of volunteers that put in a very hard weekend,
Mhm.
but coming up with some new ideas, fun ideas, and it's the old with the new, which is great to see too. That it's and we also are not one of those. Well, it's always been this way, and this is the way that it's always going to stay. That's not happening this year, which is great to see.
That's a myth buster. We need to do that again.
Right.
Do myth busters because that's
Yeah.
not true.
The State of the City when we did it the one year, that was cool. So, but night to night too, the citywide garage sale during
Yes.
Kaposia Days is always huge. And that date was created because the buyers and the sellers saying, we want it that weekend. It's like, hey, if it works for you guys, it works for us, night to night. And then we're back at school. So, so it's going to be a good summer. And just also it's to all of the partners too. Pastors in Action are going to be doing bingo again,
Mhm.
which is great. There's nothing better than a pastor calling bingo,
Yeah.
because they are experts with it. But, but working with them, working with the seniors at the high rises, doing things, working with the Mayor's Youth Task Force and any other volunteer that wants to help in the community. So I'm looking forward to a busy summer, but a really good summer. And hopefully our events, Mother Nature is not going to control them this year, but she's been kind of crabby lately, and so we need to make Mother Nature a little bit happier this year.
Yeah. Colin, how about you?
Yeah, so I'd say the next things we have really coming up is our spring break camp in March, and then we also have our 2 Easter events. So we have a springtime skate, which will be the 13th of April. We also have a skate for Easter, for Halloween, and for Christmas. So every kind of holiday we try to have a skate over at Doug Woog Arena. We also have our big egg hunt, or giant egg hunt, I should say, on Saturday the 19th. I have
With
4,000
candy, yeah.
eggs sitting in my office right now that we
Gold,
will
like real good?
Yes.
Okay,
spread
so-
out. We have
No
4
real
different
eggs.
with
Yeah,
candy,
okay.
candy,
And
and
the
then we'll have
price
candy.
still did
Yeah, no, not real eggs. That would be way too expensive. But 4,000 Easter eggs with candy inside. So we split that up between 4 age groups. So every kid of every age will get a good opportunity. Yes, which is awesome. We have a great turnout for that as well. And then everything you see in your activity guide, which everyone should get in the mail. If not, find it on our website. Everything's live for registration. So sign up for summer camps before it's too late. And then lastly, before I pass off to Heather, I know we were talking about volunteers a little bit. The color run, if you do not want to run in it, but you want to be there and participate and be a part, I know we need a lot of volunteers to actually throw the color. So if you want to take some chalk and throw it up in the air at the runners, we
And we're always
need
looking
people
for
to volunteer for that.
volunteers for
So
anything
reach out to
we
Heather
do.
or I
Um,
if you're interested in
so-
that.
And I guess I would have to say this summer consists of the pool for me. And again, I am here to teach you how to swim, to teach your kids how to swim, and to find movement in activity. When we could be sitting inside watching TV, we're not. We're out swimming and enjoying the fresh air. So come to the pool. Come to our pool feasibility study where we will get your vote on what you want here in South St. Paul.
I'm fingers crossed and hopeful that we'll have another great pool year as we did last year. A couple of things before we go for myself. I'd like to propose that we remove the dunk tank from Splish Splash Bash and we do something like a shooter, a balloon shooter, or a water wars or something. That's my personal opinion on that. And then garage sales. Deb had mentioned the garage sales. You can register for those, but here's another idea in an upselling, recycling way, as well as helping your neighbors. If your neighbors need help kind of decluttering or cleaning out a garage, or a group of you, that same block party that has, that does the city block party, maybe go together for your own little garage sale for Kaposia Days and kind of help each other get rid of some of that stuff so we perhaps can get your car back in your garage this winter. Or just, again, help people move things along, because we are givers in this town. We do have a lot of people that want to help.
But we're also takers.
We're also takers, yeah. We can't throw a good thing away, right?
Right.
But that takes a village to be able to do that, and those are great opportunities to be part of your neighbors with, and participating in these things without actually participating in these things, right? It's those extra layers that there's room for everybody, and there's opportunity for everybody, and it also does a great service to help your neighbors, gets people to know each other, those newbies, those senior citizens who are alone in their place, to have a friendly face and somebody to look for. So thanks for being with me today and sharing a bunch about your jobs and what you do. And I hope that you'll think of more things and get some feedback and bring it back to this, and we can do some highlighted topics on just one or two things, or have this podcast studio at your events where we then can get a little more of the mobile community perhaps and try to get some feedback to go a long way. So thanks. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Thanks everybody for tuning in. This has been Conversations in South St. Paul.